if this was a homicide, you want to know it, don't you?
Absolutely, but it's not.
Well, you don't know that. That's your opinion. It bothers me when people that don't know the facts, that were not in the room, make pronouncements of what happened. You can't know what happened in that room. All we can do is infer it based on the evidence in the investigation. True?
I accept that.
So, I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm not saying I disagree with you, but you're saying, yes, I would want to know if it's homicide, but it was not. How do you know that?
This has gone on for 4 years. There's been initial ruling of suicide. The Florida Department of Law Enforcement said they believe it was consistent with homicide, but not one person from that agency will stand up and defend the report which they used for their belief. My mom, my sister, and Ciara here are not experts in the field. They're emotional, they're passionate, and I understand that. Like you said, we lost a loved one. We lost our sister. She's not coming back.
The Florida Department of Law Enforcement is being sued by you. They cannot come out and say anything. They've not been able to speak. At one point, they will be able to speak and to answer back all of your claims. Is that correct?
They can make statements.
Absolutely.
They can defend the position, but they choose not.
Now, you're suing them for intentional infliction of emotional distress.
That's
because you say that you were misled with false information that this was a homicide.
That's correct.
And so that created, obviously, tremendous pain and angst in you. And at the time you believed that, and there was a time you believed that, you can understand how they feel if they believe that.
Sure. It's a tragedy. We have all been victimized by this agent from the state because he is
that this was
again
a homicide before Rusty Rogers came along. You filed a formal complaint in October following Michelle's death against Jeremy. Jeremy had to put a no contact order against Scott because he felt threatened.
Little girl,
he was warned to carry a gun to protect little girl.
Let me say something.
He was fighting for justice for Michelle, filing complaints against Jeremy well before Rusty Rogers ever came in. He was feeling that his sister was a victim of abuse well before Rusty Rogers. So now he wants to flip-flop and say that Rusty Rogers force-fed him information when he had this. He was the one fighting for justice before Rusty Rogers came in. That's how we got the sheriff to turn this over to Rusty Rogers and FDLE because we were so adamant that this was not suicide.
Okay, listen, I don't know what happened, and neither do any of you.
And
I mean, you have your opinions. Everybody,
yes,
what I'm trying to do is everybody has opinions, and I'm not totally in the dark here as well. I've trained and practiced for years as a forensic psychologist and worked with law enforcement a lot, and I want to talk about that. So when you say it's just overwhelming that this was a suicide, I'm sorry, I don't see it that way. I also don't see, I also don't know, I can't say it was a homicide, but when you say just overwhelmingly, I'm sorry, that's why I keep asking you.
I think perhaps what he means is that for us at this point, with everything that we have seen in it,
I think he can talk for himself.
All right, well then let me put it this way. My opinion from where I stand, listening to Rogers feed us all this through the 13 months that he was doing the investigation, not calling them and talking to them, calling Scott and telling Scott everything month after month after month, after all the dust settled and we were able to see both reports and talk to people about it. For us, it's very clear. So there are some things that maybe to someone who's just looking at it, but we've been living this for so long.